everybody, and welcome back to Bit About Crypto. I'm David James, the Job Whisperer. And was it you who asked why I call myself that? Was that you, David?
No, I believe it was a moniker that you came up with after.
I made it up myself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think you used to go by that job guy.
Now, if I was making up my own moniker, I'd call myself like Elvis or Cool. I mean, if you're allowed to pick your own nickname, right? But you don't get to pick your own nickname, right?
I think it came about organically with our producer John.
The Job Whisperer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were gonna do John wanted me to do a reality TV show called The Job Whisperer. This was back in 2010.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that was John's idea. John Orlando is because I do what Cesar Millan does with dogs, just with people as it relates to jobs.
That's right.
Because Cesar Millan said he can speak to any dog about their issue, and I can speak to any person about their job. It just has to be in a whisper. So
I think that's more metaphorical, but yeah, okay.
Well, I'm a deep guy. Okay, I'm deep in spiritual and emotional acuity, and totally ethereal and get it and hip. You, on the other hand, your nickname is Robo Recruiter, right? And that's because you recruit and you convince candidates to take jobs with the tool we call blunt force trauma.
No, it's not true at all.
So talk about what is true.
I can't get anybody to take a job they don't want to take a job for. So it's always going to be better for them. It's always going to be progressive. And at the end of the day, it's their decision. I just give them the pros and cons of why they should and why they shouldn't.
Sounds like the way you talk to gals in college, that you, not me, that are not interested in dating you and why they should.
Yeah, sounds like you need to get your ears checked.
I don't appreciate that sarcasm. I would never be sarcastic with you. Anyhow, I'm David James, the Job Whisperer, and welcome to Bit About Crypto. And I'm here once again with my partner, and very, very loyal, and I'm really grateful for my partner, Dave Hampton, the Robo Recruiter. And the reason he's the Robo Recruiter, it's kind of like the name I gave him, is because he's relentless. And it's not just that he's relentless in recruiting. It's just he's relentless in his ideation. He's relentless in his pursuit to be a better golfer, to be a loyal father and give his kids like the time that they need. The fact that he rows 12,000 meters a day, he's Robo. He just if it's an intention that's going to make him better or make him sharper, he's Robo about it, and he's that way about recruiting. I've never.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But that happens.
12,000 a little generous, more like 6,000. But I'll take 12,000.
So you've been lying.
No, I have no.
Mentirosa.
Again, check your ears.
Yeah. So like I said, David Hampton does 18,000 rows a day.
I mean, just to put it in perspective, because we're Americans and we don't really measure things in the metric system, right? 1,609 meters is a mile.
Okay.
All right. So 6,000 meters is roughly what, 3 miles, three.
And you do it every day.
I do somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 meters a day.
Wow, I thought what I did every morning was good. People don't know this about me. I get up at 2:30 in the morning, and I go naked into the ocean. I go naked into the ocean.
It's called the bathroom.
I go naked in the ocean because what happens is I just walk out to the lagoon when it's still dark, and I swim 5 miles. Hold on a second. Hold on. You're right. I wake up to pee. He's right. He's right. But it was good while it lasted. Anyhow, we are the co-hosts of Bit About Crypto. And Bit About Crypto, we bring in amazing people who actually have a story, and we talk about how they actually got into or have a take on crypto in some way. We also are the owners of Blockchain Recruiters, and Blockchain Recruiters is the only recruitment firm on planet Earth that recruits worldwide. And I don't mean that used to be, Tokyo, Milan, Paris. That was something you would just say, but we really mean it now because the blockchain space, there are resources and projects that are worldwide. We've got projects. It
knows no borders.
Yeah, well, we've got clients in New Zealand. We got clients in Spain. We got clients in Dubai, of course, Canada, and the United States.
Yep.
And not one of the positions that we actually have to fill, not one that says, we need someone like local to Southern California so they can show up for meetings. Not one.
Not one.
It's the new way. So if you are someone who's interested in a job in crypto, or you know that you, or more importantly, if you know that you want to be in crypto, or you have to be in blockchain technology, NFTs somehow, and you want to repurpose yourself, get a hold of me. So you can find me at David J. at blockchainrecruiters.net. Make sure you use net, otherwise you won't be caught in my net. Or you can get me on Twitter, and I'm at the BTC Recruiter. All right. Now, if you are someone who needs projects, you can. Who needs people for your projects, which are a lot lately. Then you need to get a hold of the Robo Recruiter. I'll let him tell you all about that.
Yeah, you can get me at BC Robo Recruiter, or you can email me at Dave at blockchainrecruiters.net, or you can call me on my office line 760-513-6151.
So, anyhow, that's we were learning a lot. So, when we first met in 2014, was it 2014 when we first met in like February of 2014, January, whatever it was.
We spoke in January.
And I said to you, hey, do you know anything about Bitcoin? Your answer was
no.
Right, and we weren't all that close. Right, because I trained you, and I was like, your supervisor.
Yeah, you're pretty stiff-armed about getting close to people, and you said it's because you said you need to. What'd you say? I'm going to paraphrase. You said you don't get close because you don't want to have to be hurt. You don't feel hurt when they leave.
Yeah. So what I said is I keep a very thick boundary for two reasons. One is I don't want it to be perceived that I'm playing favorites. And two is that I want to be logical and instinctual when it comes time to maybe fire you. One, right?
Yeah, be impartial. Yeah.
I had to be impartial. And I never really once thought I was going to fire you. I mean, there are other people I go, I think I'm probably going to fire this guy. But you never behaved in such a way that I'm going, hey, I've got my guy on this radar. And I mean, I wanted to fire you. I mean, in so many ways. I actually was begging the boss, can I please fire Hampton? And he said,
I couldn't afford to get fired.
That's got nothing to do with it. That's got nothing to do with it. He says, why do you want to fire the rookie of the year and the recruiter of the year? I said, just on principle, just to set it.
He won't stop coming into my office and asking questions about how to be a better recruiter.
Yeah.
I mean, God forbid, he wants to.
So anyhow, you know what? Speaking of, but you didn't know anything about Bitcoin, and you didn't know anything about recruiting, right? And both are a mentorship business. Both you need to be under. And I don't profess to be great at a lot of things, but I'm really, really naturally God gifted when it comes to recruiting and just seeing clearly, in an alien way, what has to come next and what we should and shouldn't do. That doesn't always mean I make the right decisions because I'm human. And I've watched you become a great recruiter, and in a lot of ways better than me. And I don't know if it's just the age and the force that you have, but it's almost like I'm to the point. If I was like at the age I started, I wish I would have come work for you now. And maybe I'm going to be asking for a loan because I'm giving you all these compliments, right? But back to the Bitcoin thing, right? You didn't know anything about it, and then in 2017, when we actually we're still partners. You literally you watch me. I was heavy on the Bitcoin, and I was into this thing. And you had a healthy respect, like you do to a flame. It's like, okay, I'm watching. I'll get close enough to get warm, and then you didn't get really orange pilled until I think 2019, right? And then 2019, you said, okay,
when it was about 7,000.
Yeah, exactly what it was. And to the point of that, the reason we're talking about you as a recruiter, a mentorship business, and Bitcoin, our next guest, Stephen Dolle.
Stephen Dolle.
Yeah. It's sorry, the PH throws me up. Sorry,
it's not like Stephen Curry. It's Stephen. So Stephen.
Okay,
Dolle.
now because of you, not only are we going to start the show over, but you're not going to be co-hosting.
So Stephen Dolle was a recruiter.
Travis, play the music again.
He came up.
Welcome to Bit About Crypto. Cut off Hampton's mic.
Yeah.
Anyhow, hey, with no further ado.
Not surprising.
Come on in. Come on,
Stephen.
Stephen Dolle.
Come on.
I'm here.
Hey, and I'm sorry because
thank you for enduring that.
Yeah, hey, and also thanks for coming on the show. We're out of time, so Let's thank our sponsor. So anyhow, yeah. Hey, welcome to Bit About Crypto. Thank you so much just for affording yourself the time to be on our show.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, and I'm glad to be here and chat about, one of my loves.
Yeah. So before we get into the recruiting, the crypto, and the NFT part of your life, do you have a poker past as well as some of our other guests?
Yeah. I grew up, kind of falling in love with the game of poker. I hate to age myself. I'm 38, so I grew up right when kind of poker boomed and the online sites came around. So it was a natural game for me to kind of jump into, and always was a risk taker. So, got in and played on, unfortunately, some of the sites that got rugged and all that fun stuff. But through friendships, really dove in. So, friends with several really successful poker players, which kind of got me really interested. I never would call myself a professional poker player, but I was a successful hobbyist. And I've always been one to try to surround myself with people that are smarter than me, and found kind of a circle in Missouri of poker players. We have a really good scene here. So kind of dived in while owning my own business and being able to afford to play and have some free time. Really dived into poker.
What kind of business? What kind of business did you have?
So for 11 years here in St. Louis, I had an advertising company that put ads in urinals all throughout St. Louis. So I had bars, restaurants, movie theaters.
Stop talking. Did you just say to me on my podcast that you had an advertising business that would advertise inside urinals?
You'd be going to the bathroom and there'd be a billboard right in front of you that was advertising somebody's business, and did really well.
Above the urinal.
Exactly.
Above the urinal. When you were thinking inside the urinal, I thought you were like the pads, right?
We ventured there a couple times. Yeah. But, typically when you're at the urinal, you're staring straight forward anyways. And we had you captive for 45 seconds.
No, for me at my age, you got me for 6.5 minutes.
Which is long enough to get some great ads across. Yeah. And had some great partners. I had a divorce lawyer who was with me for all 11 years, who loved being able to separate the message sexes. It was really the advantage of the business. I was the only advertiser and marketer that could really truly separate the message men and women see. So, we had a cool ad for the women to see and one for the men to see, and, gave us a lot of advantages and marketing to be able to, tailor to the right person.
Something, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it out loud to you, but you've probably been in more toilets than anybody I've ever met.
There is a very strong chance of that. At the peak, I had about 100 plus locations, and the largest privately owned movie theater company that was out of St. Louis. So yeah, we were busy. I got thankfully to a point where I paid somebody to do that after some time, and go change the ads monthly. But yeah, it was definitely, straight out of college, started a business, did it for 11 years, and loved it all. And then unfortunately,
let's talk about your life as a business owner and the urinals, right?
Yeah.
Were you able to make a living, buy a house, start a family were you able to talk about that?
Yeah. So, when you think about it, I was selling paper. So, I had a business account at Kinko's and was literally printing, ads that, most of the time they'd create. Sometimes I'd outsource and create the ads for people. But, literally I was selling paper. So my costs were super cheap, and I had, contracts with all these locations where they just got, percent of whatever I sold into their locations. So it was a really simple business plan. My only upfront cost was the frames to put them up, which, wasn't that expensive when you're buying in bulk. And then it was, if it worked, they stuck with me. I had people that, were with me for 10 plus years. They liked it. We changed out the ads once a month, and, it got to where it was pretty self-sufficient of a business. You never would think you could make a living off of it, but, like men's haircuts places love me. The movie theaters is where I made most of the money, because they actually sold more tickets in St. Louis than the Blues, Rams, and Cardinals combined, over 5 million. So just being able to sell those impressions, was a no-brainer, and I was affordable, for $1,000 a month.
So I'm at the urinal in the movie theater in St. Louis. My favorite place, by the way. I like the one on the left because that's the good flush. But anyhow, I'm going too deep. and I'm looking at your urinal advertising, how do we know that the purchase or the call to action that I spend comes from your efforts and not, say, a radio jingle?
So, for like restaurants that were close to, movie theaters, we do like promotions, bring in your ticket stub and get, a free appetizer with a $20 purchase. And then typically, most of my advertisers would ask their customers, if somebody came to the divorce lawyer and he said, where'd you hear about me? We're pretty memorable, and people would say, "Yeah, I saw you at the urinal."
Yeah. So are there? I could see how a divorce lawyer or someone like represents dads would be good at the urinal of a bar, right?
Yeah.
I sorry, dads. I'm just keeping it real. I just think that what else were some of your more successful?
It was a wide spectrum. I was really surprised with some of them that worked really, really well. I mean, car dealerships loved us. We were affordable. I mean, that was my main advantage. For $1,000 a month, I could put you in 100+ locations throughout St. Louis and get you, just a ton of impressions. And, most people aren't familiar with marketing, but, when you get into the grand scope of, cost per thousand, it's expensive out there, and we were really affordable, and it worked. So, everything from the ideal images, the spas for women, the, men's haircuts, sports clips, the knockout type locations did really well with us.
What's the benefit of to the bar? Why does the bar say, sure, you can put it in? Why does the bar?
I gave them a little cut. So usually it was about 10% of whatever I sold in. So it's free money. It was optimizing space they had that wasn't being used.
Yeah,
and when you walk into an establishment, even a successful bar, the owner sometimes is lucky to make $60,000 a year, and they bust their ass. So, when you can offer to give them a little extra money that they do nothing for, it's a pretty easy sell.
Well, it's funny because the way you're talking, right? If I was like talking to you, if I was hiring and training a recruiter, you naturally have that thing. It's like, do you golf at all? Have you ever golfed?
I have, yeah.
Okay. So you can teach swing, you can teach everything, but what you can't teach is you can't teach feel. You can't teach, and if you lack feel, you're always going to be sculling that 20-yard shot over the green with your wedge. It's just how it is, or you're going to putt it too far.
Yeah, and I think that's what drove me into poker a little bit too. The feel and making right decisions.
Yeah, so let's talk. But I want to talk about just recruiting, right? You intuitively say, "What these people need candidates, and I can find these candidates here." So intuitively, I can make this matching, right? You already had that dot connecting ability in your head, which brings us to the next thing. So I'm assuming maybe the recession of 2008.
So it's a funny story. Well, not funny, I guess. Unfortunate series of unfortunate events. I actually had my company ready to sell and was working with, just getting the contracts and everything together and organized to do a clear sale. Well, what ended up happening is that largest privately owned movie theater company decided to not be the largest privately owned movie theater company anymore and sold.
AMC?
They sold to Marquee Theaters, which was, another chain. And basically they didn't love my contract because it was pretty nice for me. So I kind of lost one of the biggest assets of the company. And, that's kind of what drove me into recruiting is I was getting married, knew I needed to get something a little more stable. And one thing I loved about my company is I loved hiring people to do my sales. And, it's an interesting sale, but, I had a lot of success with college students and helping build their resume and having them, kind of cold call businesses and do sales and make a commission, to where that kind of transitioned me to where once I got my company pretty stable, I actually did some consulting recruiting work for local companies in St. Louis. Love that. And then it was just kind of a smooth transition once, I wasn't able to sell my business and it just wasn't going to make the money.
Was that back when college students needed to work?
That was.
Oh, did I just say that? Did I just say that out loud?
I think they've all needed to work. It's just a matter of finding the ones who will.
Hold on a second. Need is a very interesting word. And I think in the last 18 to 24 months, I don't think college students have needed to work because the money has been
this isn't
granted
a political
via
show.
manna from the sky. There's no politics about it.
Yeah,
money has come manna from the sky. Anyhow, okay, I digress. So anyhow, go on. Thank you.
Yeah, so it got me into recruiting. I ended up being a talent manager for one of the largest newborn photography companies that was based out of St. Louis. And then ended up getting into recruiting for a distribution company here in St. Louis as well before kind of deciding, and my entrepreneur spirit kind of came back. And thankfully with the success I did have in the crypto realm, this year was able to kind of hang up the cleats from the corporate world and get back into, Neon Dream Studio, which, I co-founded and is in the whole NFT space.
Although we're going to unpack just a little bit more. So tell me about you growing up. What kind of family you're from? Brothers, sisters, what your mom and dad do?
Yeah, so I came from a family here in St. Louis. My dad was in the commercial, banking industry, and my mom was actually in human resources. So I think that's where some of that fell back, seeing her kind of work in that industry. So it was kind of a natural thing that I kind of picked up on. Just me and my sister, Mindy, grew up in St. Louis, going to, most people probably don't know, but like Pattonville, Parkway North, when you're in St. Louis, that's the question everybody asks, what high school and where did you go to school? Yeah, so good family. They divorced, later in my life and kind of each, moved on in their own direction. But yeah, great upbringing. And, I think they did well and set me up for success.
Interesting. All right. So when you get into human resources, it says you worked at Workplace Partners. Was that the new photo place?
No, that was the consulting work I kind of did on the side, where I did work for some small businesses here in St. Louis that basically my niche for that company was I partnered with small business owners who didn't have the need for a full-time HR person, but at the time were too busy to actually handle the recruiting process. So I'd meet with that small business owner, kind of figure out their needs, and I'd handle everything from them, from posting the jobs, doing initial interviews. And basically my role was to set them up with 3 or 4 strong candidates so they can just do that final interview, offer a job, and save them a lot of time and money.
Interesting. So, and then you left that, you stopped doing that, and the last corporate gig you had was with Bunzl,
yeah. That was a large.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a large distribution company, huge company, like 13 billion plus in sales, hundreds of warehouses across the globe. So I was doing recruiting for, a lot of distribution jobs. So, warehouse work really was a big need since, especially everything that's gone on with COVID and the job market. So, I was spending, full-time hours trying to keep our, warehouses that needed help staffed up by basically kind of doing a similar thing at Workplace Partners, but we'd call them hotspots. And when it got a location got to where, they were in a little bit of desperate need, we'd kind of take it off the warehouse management team, own the recruiting process, and just get people in the door so they can do the final interview. Because as you guys know, if you don't reach out to candidates quickly in this market, you lose them. And they were finding that, they were busy running warehouses. And sometimes if you wait a week to look at those applicants, the best ones are already gone. So they brought in our team to kind of own that and make their life a lot easier.
So how did crypto find you?
So crypto found me thanks to Black Friday with poker. Basically everybody got forced to play on, a site called America's Card Room. And their main, way to put money on and offline was Bitcoin. So kind of forced as I enjoyed playing the game.
What year was this?
Oh, man.
I know Black Friday, right?
That's got to be 12, 13 years ago now. I mean, time flies.
It was like 2011, I think it was, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Was this the 10-year anniversary? So that happened. And then, a couple of the sites that survived were ones not based in the U.S. This one specifically was out of Costa Rica, and they tailored to American players and, let people play with Bitcoin. So, to be able to deposit and then cash out, my hand was a little bit forced.
Yeah, it was tax day. It was Friday, April 15th, 2011. Yeah, because yep. I had a huge amount of money in Poker Stars.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, and who was smart about this was Party Poker. Party Poker got out of the United States. They saw the writing on the wall. They said, and the reason George Bush, George Bush started it is because I said this on another podcast that they thought that the Al Qaeda was using it to actually bring money from Karachi to 6 guys in an apartment in Brooklyn. Right, where they would just literally have to put $20 in, like literally Western Union $20 to the account. Then they go.
I mean, my first deposit to PokerStars was via Western Union. I was an 18-year-old kid, and went to a local Western Union, place and spent $100 to be able to play the first time. When I was probably 18 years old.
Let me ask you a question. So are you telling me that you have actually used your name? Your legal name to Western Union money to PokerStars? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have too. And let me just tell you something. When's the last time you've tried to actually Western Union under your name?
I couldn't tell you. Probably that one.
Let me tell you something. I got a surprise for you. Part of the Western Union's way of actually settling with the Justice Department over all that money laundering stuff was anybody who actually ever sent anybody to PokerStars or Party Poker or PokerTrap or whatever it is, you, my friend, like me, are ineligible for actually making a Western Union transfer for life. You are barred.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
But you want to know something? I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
You want to know why? Because Bitcoin. That's why.
It doesn't matter.
Because Western Union.
Because of Strike.
I actually wear that as a badge of honor. But I wanted to share that to you. Yeah.
You're making me want to go test it and just try to send a friend $20.
No.
See what happens.
Send it to me.
Well, no. So send it to me. Yeah. I'm not barred, so I can actually.
No. You are because you're associated now with 2, not 1, but 2 of us. So
not by name.
That's right. So okay. So you start. So 2011, that's even before I got into Bitcoin. Right? I got Bitcoin like 2013.
Yeah, and it was probably 2014 the first time I used transactions. It was I played on Seals with Clubs, which was a Bitcoin poker site that was around for a little bit before the feds didn't love it and shut that down. But that was a pure Bitcoin poker site that I played on a little bit as well. And just started to kind of just dive into the whole crypto and realized that it really is revolutionary, and that, with everything I was seeing with the deflation of the dollar and, the printing of money that regardless of party is happening, the whole idea of a currency based on what the last person paid that has a limited supply that really is depreciating in its own right, just from people. You hear about stories of people losing 1 million Bitcoin on a hard drive in a dumpster somewhere, millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, not 1 million Bitcoin, but
not 1 million Bitcoin.
No, but there is a guy, I think he's in Holland, and what happens is he had what is the equivalent of $500 million worth of Bitcoin, right? So it's about 1,000, right? I think it's a little bit more because it was like 500 million back then. And literally he has paid money for like a sonar scanner to find the part of the dump on where he thinks the hard drive is, right? Because he had it on 2 hard drives. Did you know the story, David?
No.
Yeah, he had it on 2 hard drives. He says, hard drive A has the Bitcoin. Hard drive B, actually, I don't need it anymore. Well, somehow somebody threw the Bitcoin drive away and kept the one that he didn't need. So he has lobbied, it's like the Netherlands or the Dutch government or the Norwegian government. Look, I will give the government $250 million, okay, on this treasure hunt. I mean, forget going to like the South Atlantic Ocean looking for ships that were carrying gold to the Caribbean. Forget those treasure hunts. This is but I don't think he's having much luck.
Yeah, he has not been successful, but I mean, if I had that much money that I thought was in a dumpster, I would probably be offering percents to people to be digging.
He's probably like he digs at night, right? His nails are. He went from like having a manicure and like being ran around in the rolls to now he's like his teeth are bad and he's like digging at night. I know it's here somewhere, right? He's obsessed. He's totally gone. I'm not saying that's really happening, but I could see how that could happen.
I just am glad I'm not in that predicament. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. I was having a conversation with somebody else. We were talking about backup phrases, right? And the question was posed, what if you all of a sudden found a backup phrase, just a random backup phrase? Would you like log in and take the coins? And I was tempted at first. I was tempted to say yes. I mean, my first reaction. But then karmically, I said, yeah, I've got a couple of backup phrases myself, if that makes any sense. And karmically, I just said, yeah, I don't think I can do it. I guess what I'm trying to say, and from a very metaphysical standpoint, is that if you're supposed to have crypto, you will. And if you're not, you're not. And that all comes down to consciousness, right? Not everybody who's going to actually buy crypto is going to be rich because they don't have the consciousness. Because rich doesn't necessarily mean possessing money. Right, and I know you know exactly what I'm talking about because you ventured on this new thing, your new project, with your partner Dutch, right?
Yeah.
But before I come to, what's your take on the passphrase thing? What's your truth on your answer?
I've almost been tested with that before because when I go and enter manually my Cardano wallet, when I get to like 12 words and one of my words is like half, it's a word and I can hit enter and then it goes to a wallet that's not mine. And when I first entered that, I was like, oh man, what's going to be on here? Luckily there was nothing, but my mind definitely got spinning of whose wallet is this and how and me entering my, seed could that possibly come up. But oh man, it would be.
Well, hold on a second. If that's even possible, I don't know what wallet that is, but if that's even possible, I don't want anything to do with that wallet.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it was just a Cardano, make a mnemonic phrase wallet.
Where you get to make your own.
Yeah,
to make your own. Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it's such a hard thing. I mean, morally, I'd want to say I wouldn't, but with the blockchain not being able to find the owner anyways, it's a hard conundrum because it's like, well, what if this just is never used?
Yeah, but
it can change my family's life.
But it also, have I fled government tyranny, and am I in some South American country just living off fruit off trees, right? So it all has to do with circumstance. It's real easy for me to make a judgment from on high. Yeah, of course I would.
I think what I do is I try to first find out whose wallet it was, and if it could be proven, then I would try to help them out. But if it came to where a year of me searching, it would be mine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, that's a lot of work for $30 worth of Cardano. But anyhow, I digress. So let's talk about. All right, so you talked to me about how you found Bitcoin through, the poker site. And so it must have been like $5-10 when you were getting it.
Yeah, I think my first cash out from America's Card Room was at like $625. And then Bitcoin went back down to like 200. It was kind of that time frame. And then, kind of made.
Oh, yeah. You said 2014. I'm thinking 2011. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like 625. And then in the next few months, I think it flipped down to like the 200, right around 200. And then it kind of started its moon mission past 1,000. So that was kind of the first cash out on my Coinbase account was, Bitcoin was 625. That's where I kind of got in. And then, obviously I think everybody's progression is just looking what other, cryptocurrencies are out there. So I started, playing around on Binance and some of the other sites, some that aren't even in existence anymore, like Cryptopia, where I'm still dealing with trying to get a claim of some of the money that was hacked off their back. But just kind of dived into the whole, for lack of a better word, shit coins. Traded successfully, did pretty well, playing that game. And then, in January of this year is when I kind of dived into, I was somewhat early to NBA Top Shot, entering around January 17th, which was before the boom. I got into NBA Top Shot when you could actually buy packs and not have the queue and not the frustration of, waiting forever to get one pack for $9. So got in at the perfect time there, made some money, and then kind of dived full steam into NFTs, minted, speaking of that Cardano wallet, I minted like Space Buds, which is the, blue chip on Cardano for NFTs. Cardano Bits had some really good success right off the bat there. And then, Dutch, who you mentioned before, who's my business partner, kind of was like, you got to check out these Bored Apes on, Ethereum. The floor is 0.2. And, I looked at them, and I trust Dutch when it comes to these kind of things.
Yeah,
I caved in.
I bet he's so smart. When he was on our show last week, he's so smart that I really questioned my intelligence. I said, you know what, I have so much to learn. I mean,
yeah, Dutch is one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, and when he's in the room, he's typically going to be the smartest guy. So when he tells me something, I listen. He may kill me for saying this, but they're black suit apes, which there's only like 40 something of in the collection and one of the premier ones. They actually did an auction of them at Christie's. He literally told me I'd give my left nut to buy one of these, so I just bought it. I was like, okay, that's enough. If you're willing to do that, I'll buy one. So my first Bored Ape purchase when the floor was 0.2 was a 2.5 Ethereum, rare gold suit. Or not gold suit, black suit ape. There was a death bot, the captain hat and all that, and then bought 3 or 4 as well that same day, and kind of just leaped into there at the right time.
Before we go to that, let's just talk about your relationship with cryptocurrency and the currency portion of it, not the NFT portion of it, right? So you're doing Bitcoin in 2014. You're cashing out. What are you doing with the Bitcoin? Are you saving it? Are you turning it to fiat? And then talk about other coins you saw. I'm interested in the cryptocurrency.
I bought this for a Bitcoin, this laptop that I cashed out for poker.
That's the nicest.
That is one expensive laptop.
No. Those types of laptops are going for $60,000 and rising. And rising. No, laptops appreciate, just like boxes of popcorn and T-shirts. My wife said to me.
In cars.
My wife said to me in 2013, she says, hey, you have that Bitcoin stuff, right? I said, yeah. I said, why? She says, because I want to buy 3 T-shirts and they take Bitcoin. And I went, okay, how much do they want? They said, well, it will be $175, right? Which would have been half a Bitcoin. Half a Bitcoin at the time.
Did you do it?
No. All right. But I was just thinking about, having 3 $10,000 T-shirts. I'm just, that's at today's prices. So anyhow, okay. So yep. you bought the laptop. So yeah, basically you just thought that Bitcoin grew on trees. And then tell me the part of your life where it actually, you started thinking about it.
It's store value.
The store value. Yeah. That part of it.
So I don't know if I ever thought of it as really a store of value, but just an incredible investment opportunity, and saw the new coins and the insane returns that some of them had. So I hate to say, but I never stored the value. I was just trading when it came to it, and looking for new opportunities and really jumping around with a lot of transactions that, have been really fun for tax purposes. But I hate to say that I never feel like I just held it as a store of value. I always had it moving and investing in new things. So, buying Link when it was, 17 cents, things like that on Binance. Unfortunately, I have a history of buying and then flipping out of things a little bit too early. So I don't have a ton of Link left, but, now it's 30 plus a coin. But, just jumping from ship to ship and kind of, the best way to say it is I think my success is owed a lot to crypto Twitter and finding the right influencers and being able to act on it quickly. I've been working from home before it became the new in thing, with owning my own business, to where I've been able to be there to see things when they're first mentioned and then act quickly. And I feel like that's an undervalued thing to be successful in this space, is being literally at your computer 24/7 with, my treasure and ready to trade on Uniswap and do what I need to make money. So, I think that really is what I followed, and how I was successful is just looking for the trend and jumping in and out before the public.
Okay. That's awesome. So, can you give me an example of how you've had some diamond hands?
Oh man, I can give you better examples of when I've had paper hands. But
okay. No, wet toilet paper hands.
Yeah, I mean, I tell everybody if you want to make a lot of money, follow what I do, but never sell. Because I've, like I said, I lock in gains and move on to what I think is the next thing. But if you look back at and everything on the blockchain is public, so if you look at my St. Louis.eth address, you can see all these transactions. But probably my biggest one was March 24th. I bought 35 billion SHIB for 1 ETH, about $2,200. And at the peak, if I sold the top, it would have been $3 million US, which was just this year. I sold it for like a 10x, which I thought was a huge home run. But I obviously underestimated SHIB and the memeness of it because I literally for 1 ETH got 35 billion SHIB, which today is still 1.5 million.
It's funny that you say this because there's a podcast mentor called The Modern Investor. I listen to him every morning. I think David does too. He puts and he's no hype. He doesn't pitch coins. He just talks about what's going on. I've learned so much about crypto from him, just conceptually thinking about what's going on because he just aggregates news and he filters what's real and what's not. And I remember I hear him talking about Dogecoin, and I watch Doge. I've never touched Doge. And I remember it was right when COVID started, call it May of 2020. He says, hey, there's this whole Shiba Inu thing. And I literally said, I'm buying $1,000 of Shiba today, right? But for me, right, you had to buy it on Coinbase. Not Coinbase,
Uniswap, probably?
No. It wasn't. I didn't have a MetaMask back then. Binance. You had to buy it on Binance.
Okay.
Right? And I couldn't get an account. I tried to get an account, right? And I think it's a year and a half later, and I'm still waiting for compliance to call me back. Right?
Yeah, they had an interesting thing where they went from Binance to Binance.us to where I had to get everything out of my Binance account. And then when they opened Binance US, they were really regulatory, like Coinbase and, all the stuff I was trading, I couldn't even hold anymore.
It wasn't even that. This was before Binance US. It was, I was trying to get on Binance and it's just like, hey, upload your docs. Hey, we don't have your docs. Upload your docs. I can't get any customer support or anything like that. And I just said, it's just not meant to be. But that $1,000 would have been over 100 million. I would have made $100 million. 100 million.
And it's crazy because a lot of people don't realize that, but there's these opportunities that come up all the time to make life-changing money. I mean, the SHIB literally was March of this year. So, one trade for $2,200 and, could make you $1 million.
But there's no way I would have let it ride to 100 million. Exactly. I know me, right? I mean, for the price it was. But what I'm trying to say is, but to be honest with you, 100 million at the high water mark, around like October of this year, right? But now, right where we are, is it would be 50 million. I would have lost half of it, right?
You survived,
right? But what I'm saying is that's that. So, and I'm also a year ago. Okay, so we've been in the blockchain space. I said to David, we have to fire all of our construction clients and just start in the blockchain space. We had no clients. We just started aggregating candidates. And talk about a leap of faith, right? And we actually did that. And a year ago, nobody was talking about NFTs. All our clients, everyone we were looking for, they were actually doing some type of blockchain project, right? Maybe an NFT in the respect of like Super World, right? Where they're going to do an NFT of the whole world or anything like that. But this whole NFT, like apes and all this other kind of stuff, that was just not even in the sphere of consciousness. Nobody was talking about the NFTs, right? None of this was happening. It's just, and the funny thing about it is what's the first thing I learned, right? I'm 57. What's the first thing I learned? Make money. All right. The next thing I learned is I saw getting debased or the inflation going, well, get gold or something. All right. Or get stocks or something deflationary. Right. And then when I found Bitcoin, I go, this is the alpha and the omega. Nothing is ever going to pass Bitcoin. Right. But possibly these NFTs, and the only thing that Bitcoin is it's the largest financial network on the world. Like Amazon is the largest distribution retail to your home in the world, just like Google is the largest information disseminator and gatherer in the world. The only difference is those things are popular. Bitcoin is not yet popular, but it's dominant, right? And so possibly there are going to be some NFTs that like let's say that everybody that you owned like the Jesus Christ on the cross NFT. Virtually everybody knows who that dude is, right? Not everybody knows who Kobe Bryant is in the watch, right? But so all of a sudden that coin or that NFT or the portions of the contracts thereof could be like, yeah, I bought Dubai, right? I mean, I'm just saying, and I want you to speak in that quantum leap. Because very rarely can I speak about someone who's got a relationship with Bitcoin. And I know at one time you saw Bitcoin being as the end of all things. And now you're not in a Bitcoin-oriented business. You're in an NFT business. Sorry that took so long.
Yeah, no. And, I've definitely went from being a Bitcoin, maxi to now I'm all in on Ethereum. I mean, my Bitcoin holdings are really low. And I think the smart contract aspect that you see is the basis of this NFTs is going to be the future. And people, whether they realize it or not, in the next few years are going to be involved in NFTs because, I think that value of the smart contract that's on the Ethereum network is going to start touching everything that is ancient and should have changed already. Like I just bought a car. It's the worst process ever. That should be an NFT where you purchase it and they deliver it to your home. Like get rid of the title, get rid of the DMV. Everybody hates that. It's just a money-making thing for the state. Like that should be an NFT transaction. Every house should be on the blockchain. You should be able to buy a house without paying 5% to an agent to literally do a little bit of paperwork. So I think NFTs is the first step into that. But once people realize how smart contracts work and that it's more than just a JPEG you're buying, but you're buying that place on the blockchain, I think it's going to just continue to explode. So, I mean, I am 95% into, chains that have NFTs and smart contracts and, really think it's the way. And as you were saying, like, one thing that irks me is like people saying they're like an expert CPA in NFTs. It's like nobody's an expert in this yet. Like nobody's had to do taxes on insane gains from NFT until this year, because the amount of people that really made a ton of money on NFTs before 2021 is very few. So it's just such an incredible ride, and I'm glad to be a part of it. But like, I mean, April, you could buy an ape for $250. Today, the floor is $200K. Like these growth potential and opportunities are just amazing. And, is the space getting a little, overtaken with just a ton of projects every day? 100%. But, I think that's where, the right projects are still out there. It's just picking where you put your money.
It's funny that you say that because like literally Dutch was here in the studio and, he was talking about the exact same thing, and he says, "Hey, and I got apes for $300." And I'm only saying that because he said it publicly. I wouldn't dox something he told me privately.
Right.
And I looked right at him, right, one ex-poker player to another, and I said, "Hey, I'll give you $600 for that. That's a good double up." And he looked at me and he goes, "That is a good double up, right?" yeah, but I'm not interested in double ups anymore. I'm interested in 1,000 ups, right? And that's fun. So let's talk about your current project. What are the genesis? So you actually, so Dutch is like for me, he's my new Neo. All right, in the Matrix. I mean, I really, I'm gonna try and suck up as much of his counsel as I possibly.
You mean Morpheus?
No, Neo, because he still knows kung fu. Anyhow, he just knows so much, and he said that he actually gave you some picks on some drops, and you actually bought him and he did it, and that really went well for you. But he says he's got love for you anyhow. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so we have a great relationship. I've known Dutch for 15 plus years, and I kind of got him into Top Shot, and we made some money there. And then
did you teach him how to play poker too?
No, other way around, if anything, on that. Yeah, I mean, as you can see from last week's podcast, he's just a brilliant guy. So I've always tried to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. So he was an easy one to do that with. But yeah, he's the kind of guy where if he has conviction in something, he's put in the research and I'm going to believe it and I'm going to trust him. In this space, are you ever going to be 100% right? Absolutely. And he'll be the first to say, do your own research. But we've both been uber successful in this space. And one thing I'll say in our Mech Arcade Discord, I think it's one of the greatest things we're doing right now. We're really trying to bring new people to this space that haven't gotten into crypto and NFTs. So we actually post alpha calls on there.
Hold on a second. Stop. So talk to our audience about what an alpha call is. Explain that and how they can be part of that.
Yeah, so an alpha call is basically where we tell our community what projects we like and why, and give them the details on when that drop's going to be and how to successfully maneuver it, especially in gas wars and some of the stuff that, probably that doesn't even make sense to most people that may be listening today. But it's a whole game to mint an NFT launch. And we're trying to educate our community and people in it on, what we like, why we like it, what we did the research about, and then give them the details for them to make their own decision on if they think it's a good investment play for them. We've done really well and had some great calls and had just a ton of feedback in our Discord to where they've already paid for being able to mint ours. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is grow a community project where we provide that value. And then after the launch, on top of getting this amazing 3D interoperable art, you get that gated alpha access as well to get to, super successful traders in this space and be able to pick their mind and ask them questions, which to me is actually the value of our 0.08. Just to have the token and get that can make you a ton of money as it is, but everything else on top of it is just kind of gravy, in my opinion.
Hey, Travis, put up his social. So let's tell our audience. Remember, we've got some of us, the majority on Spotify and Apple, not just on YouTube. So tell them how they can find you and how they can be part of this alpha call.
Yeah, Twitter at SD from the Lou. Our Discord is called Mech Arcade. To go to our Discord, you can type in any web browser, discord.gg/MechArcade. That'll let you join it. Then you just need to pick a faction. It's a cool game we have, and kind of have everybody in the community joining a faction and playing some games inside our Discord. But by joining a faction, it gives you access to a channel on our Discord, which is called Alpha Calls, where we, give our picks, give that information. And then in our general chat, we love to just chat about the community, answer questions, and help them along the way.
Okay, so those of you guys listening, even though he said it clearly, it's SD, right? Sierra Delta from the Lou. That's LOU, right? And it's Mech Arcade, right?
Yep.
MECH.
Yes.
Arcade.
And all those links are going to be on my Twitter. I mean, we're mecharcade.com. Everything's Mech Arcade, so it's hard not to find us. But the Discord's where our main community is and where we're providing that value. And we've already had a few home runs to where, one of my suggestions a week ago was, a 0.08 mint and got to over a 1 ETH floor within a couple days. So, we have had a few home run calls already and, actually have a few coming out in the weeks to come. So, I think that value is just insane because, once again, the blockchain's public. We're as doxed as you can get in this industry with who we are. So you can see and check and see our history of, just the smashing success we've had in it. It's been life-changing. I have a wife and 2 young kids that I'm the sole, I provide for because my wife has the hardest job of them all.
Indeed.
Taking care of my 2 kids under 3 and giving me the ability to spend so much time on what I love. But yeah, I mean, it's afforded me to be able to take this risk and, be able to go full speed into, building this Neon Dreams brand, and Mech Arcade is, our first project.
So about that. So I'm going to ask you, I'm just going to put a topic and you can do a number, 1 being the lowest and 10 being you're an expert of what you know. Okay. Bitcoin.
3.
Okay. NFTs.
9.
Okay. Putting ads up in urinals.
10.
Recruiting.
I'd say 10.
Okay. Hex.
2.
Pulse chain?
3.
Okay. All right. So, what advice would you actually give to listeners as far as entering the crypto space in any type of capacity on a very macro scale?
So the whole crypto NFT space to me is one of the most friendly communities out there. So I tell everyone to immerse themselves into it. Get on, Twitter, follow some of the influencers. I think most of us in the space realize to continue the growth of not just crypto, but NFTs as well, is to get new people involved and to get them to understand it and the value that it provides. So to me, that's really what it's all about, is immersing yourself into it. There's YouTube videos out there. Obviously, always do your own research and don't just trust blindly an influencer. But there's enough information out in the space to where if you dive in and put in the time, you can learn everything about anything. And it's just really, it's something I think has helped me just succeed in life in general. Is if anybody can take anything from this, and kind of my big thing is trust your instincts. Like when you are in anything, whether it's interview or, accepting a job offer or looking at a project to mint, like that's what you have to do. You trust your instincts, and first impressions are typically right. So that's how I trade. And that's how I pick projects. I trust my instincts. Am I wrong a lot? Of course. But if you have more home runs than strikeouts, it's pretty easy to be somewhat successful in this space.
Yeah, you could actually even have more strikeouts than home runs, right? Because it's so asymmetric in the returns. So I want to just comment on one thing, because you said that the crypto community, and that's pretty much everybody, blockchain, NFT, cryptocurrency, whatever that is, they're such a nice community. And I've got a theory on why that is. Because, most competitive things, like these are our trade secrets. This is the way we do business. This is the Coca-Cola secret sauce. This is the way Jack in the Box makes their special secret sauce. That we protect that. There's not enough. We don't have the budget. And how many times did you recruit when they said, when you lost a deal over $2,000, right? It's like the guy wanted 127 and they wanted to pay 125 or whatever it is. It's like I had that happen at Disney. It's like, we don't have the money. You made $6 billion in profit. I assure you, you have the money, right? But crypto is the first thing I've ever seen that it enters the consciousness, it enters somebody's wallet, and then usually it becomes abundance. It manifests abundance, and there's enough for me. I mean, I can't tell you how often I go and I just give people $5 worth of Bitcoin just to get you started, right? And I learned that from Mike Smith. Remember how Mike Smith was doing that? I said, well, because we were at BitBlock Boom, and he's just giving everybody, he's talking about people like in the Denny's. Hey, download this wallet right now. I'll give you $5. And that's the proliferation it takes. It's because from what he started with for what it is right now, there's a lot of $5 to give. But anyhow, Stephen Dolle, I can't thank you enough for being on our show.
It was a pleasure. It was fun time, and I appreciate you having me as well. And love what you guys are doing with this podcast. And obviously, blockchain recruiters, coming from a recruiter, to see somebody in this space, and one of the first reasons I kind of reached out to you all in the first place, and to speak on one of your events prior about jobs and how it's changing. I mean, kudos for getting into this, because honestly, if I didn't get into NFTs and this, it's probably where I would have ended up as well, as trying to work for you guys and recruit jobs. Recruiting is a sales job, but you got to sell stuff you love.
No. It's not. It's not. No, it's not.
I disagree as well. But it depends how you define sales, if you ask me.
So let me explain that to you. Okay.
All right.
It's like let's pretend you and I were like college roommates, right? And your wife is not in the picture. And I say, hey, there's a girl I want you to meet. What would you say to me?
What does she look like?
Sure.
What does she look like? But we're college buddies. You trust me.
Wait, this is college, though. We cared about that stuff?
Yeah. Right. So
it's like we're in Afghanistan where it's binary, yes or no.
I bet you under that burqa, she looks good. But anyhow, so you see her, and one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to say, she looks better than I imagined, or I'm going to kill that guy when I come back. But if you've decided that like there's no chemistry there, and I'm going to say, hey, I want you to date her again, can I make you?
Probably not.
And if you just thought she was the most beautiful thing, right, but I didn't want you to see her anymore, could I stop you?
Probably not.
So when it comes to a job, right, there's a. If I was to call you on the telephone and say, hi, my name is David James, and I don't know how you're going with your wife and your girlfriend right now, but I got a great gal who would be a good wife or a good girlfriend, you'd be offended. It's like, you don't know me. You don't know me like that. How dare you, right? But you could be gainfully employed at company next. I say, hey, my name is David James. Look, I don't know where you are in your career, but I have a position that I'm looking for, and I thought you'd be a good fit. What are your thoughts? Well, I'm not interested. What's it paying? Let me close my door, right? And then all of a sudden, so I personally believe that as a recruiter, you find the candidates that have the pain and the hiring authority that comes to pain. And just like the college roommate analogy, mingle.
And when I say sales, I think I think of it in a little bit of a different way. I think I'm thinking of it from this job market to where.
Oh yeah. There's not enough people who need to work.
Exactly. So it's not an employer's job market right now. It's an employee's. So as an employer, you have to sell your company and yourself to get the top talent. Okay. That's where I come from with that. Okay. Because this job market's insane right now.
Okay. I don't like being made wrong. So Travis, edit this part out.
All right, good.
Hey, thank you so much. And so I just got to give a shout out to Travis and Sticky Paw Studios, our producers. Come on.
There you go. Sorry, it was muted. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, you want me to put this thing?
That's your cue.
You got one job here.
That's your cue, dude.
You got one job.
Come on, man.
Do it again.
We're trying to sell for you.
Do it again.
No, I won't do it again. No. Okay. No.
You're lost.
All right.
You're right.
Anyhow, we are not paying the studio for this episode. There's going to be a strongly worded letter to the owner.
No, this one's already included in the discount. We are in.
Discount.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for the discount on the discount. Dave Hampton, Robo Recruiter, my compadre, thank you so much for joining me again.
Eternally grateful.
And I'm David James, the Job Whisperer. And remember, everybody, get whispered.